Reef DVM's coming at you today with kind of a egg cooker kind of review. I've never really used one of these, so I must admit there's a little bit of inexperience. Typically, I'm used to hard boiling eggs in a pot with water, but it's sometimes nice to have a device that you can set it, let it run. It'll tell you when it's done. You come back, shut it off, and you got your eggs done. So we got ourselves one of these dashes. In particular, we went with the dash because it can do a dozen eggs. And with these larger families, whenever we hard boil eggs, which is at least probably twice a week, we want to be able to do a whole carton. So instead of grabbing a pot and filling up with water and hard boiling eggs and having one or two crack, I thought I'd give this a try. The directions are, I guess, fairly simple. We'll see if I can walk through them here as we do this. There's a bunch of recipes in that book too, but I'm basically going to unpack this little devil. You can buy these things in department stores. They sell a bunch of them in Kohl's. You can buy it on Amazon. And they're different brands. This one's a Dash. It had good reviews and said it was pretty compact for storing away in the cabinet. Said it was pretty easy to clean with its little stainless steel pan at the bottom. And it got pretty hot, which is what you want if you want to get it done in a decent amount of time. They claim that it'll hard boil a whole set of eggs in about 20 minutes, so hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we can put this little devil to the test. It sounds like it's pretty simple to use. It sounds like there's a cup here that you fill up to the line wherever you want the number of eggs to be. Less water for more eggs, more water for less eggs. I know it sounds backwards, but that's what it is. And then there's a bunch of trays in here. This thing can make poached eggs. It can make scrambled eggs. I think it can make an omelet. I'm not reviewing all that stuff because really what I care about is can it make hard-boiled eggs and make them in a decent amount of time and fairly simply, kind of the walk away kind of stuff. Again, there's all these different trays and pans and all these different functions to it. And I'm sure they probably do work great, but like I said, I'm not really reviewing that right now as I'm trying to just kind of open it up and put the cooker together and see if I can make it work. See if I can take 12 eggs and hard boil them up and have a little simpler. I'm just trying to kind of figure out the basis. There's no directions in there really about assembly. It basically just kind of shows a picture format. So once I kind of figured out from the picture format, I'm ready to put my eggs in. And the first thing it kind of tells you to do is unwind the cord and plug it in. So I guess we'll do that then first. It's got a nice on and off on it. And then, of course, you have to put in the right amount of water. And for 12 eggs, it's about half of its little cup thing there. Now, I'm going to side note right away that you put the water in first, and then you tap little holes in the air sacs of the eggs in your carton. You'll notice I skipped that because I didn't read that little one-sentence blurb. So I put the water in, I put the eggs in, and then I started reading a little further in the book, and I happened to catch that line that said to take the bottom of the cup and poke holes in it. So do that right now. Like open up your carton, don't move the eggs because the air sacs will be up top, and tap little tiny holes with the bottom of your cup into those eggs. But I didn't do that right at the beginning, so my apologies. I set the eggs in here. On the farm here, we get brown eggs and some lighter eggs, but we don't really have white eggs. I like the big brown eggs. They're a very large egg. The birds are much hardier for the cold than the leghorns, so we tend to use the ISA Comets. I like the personality of the birds. They show well for my kids at the fair, and they're really pretty easy keepers. Another bird on the farm that we really like is the barred rock. Not the easiest to show, obviously because of the color patterns that have to match up, but another really good, tough winter bird. So it's about, I think about 7:35 here, and I'm pointing to my watch there, and I'm turning on it. The water's in it, and again, the eggs are not poked on the top to allow for the expansion. But now I'm going to actually just kind of look through the book and see what else is in it. And of course, this is the part where I catch the little dealie about poking the holes in the egg. There's a nice recipe guide in here if you like to make things like, deviled eggs and stuff like that. There's also kind of a cleanup and maintenance thing. It tells you that when you get done cooking eggs, it'll look like rust in the bottom of the egg cooker. and it should clean off for you. But I'm not going to really worry about that. What I'm going to worry about is, can it get it done in 20 minutes, and can it do it without, cracking the crap out of the eggs? So that's kind of what I'm putting to test here. The older the egg that you have in your refrigerator, the more air sac it's going to have. These are pretty fresh eggs, so there's not going to be a lot of air sac to them. I think we just picked these out of the hen house probably 4 or 5 days ago, so hopefully it cooks up well for us. So basically that's the directions in a nutshell. And again, they give you these poached containers here. This container you can use for omelets and other things. I'm not really going to review any of it, folks. Just going to push it off because really what I want is a simple machine that can hard boil eggs. I can kind of set it and walk away until it tells me, and then come back and just handle the eggs. So while I was just putting all this stuff away, that's when I remembered that little blurb that I read. So I was figuring out what I got to do here. So I'm going to have to come back, open up the top of the machine, and again poke holes in the eggs. But remember to do that part at the beginning. The machine puts out quite a bit of steam, so have it in at least a set of your island or countertop area where you can manage and deal with that steam load. You certainly don't want that steam wrecking something in your place. Okay, so just think about that a little bit before you just go willy-nilly and stick it under a cabinet and then cook eggs with it, because it'll make a damp mess for you. So as you can see, it's all steamed up here. I'm going to open up the cover. I'm going to take the cup that you put the water in, and I'm going to tap the top of the eggs and see if they're a little bit hard, because obviously they get a little softer when you're hard boiling them in this kind of steam thing. And if they're hard enough, I'm going to punch a hole in them, as you see, with the little pin at the bottom. Can't believe I forgot that, but again, after 47 years of cooking eggs in a pot with boiling water, this is a little bit new to me. So here I go. I'm getting in this here. We're just gonna turn it off for just a quick second. I know you're not supposed to turn it off in the middle of it, but I'm just gonna get up here and just see if these eggs are hard enough. They seem hard enough, so I'm gonna end up going for it. And if you're wondering what those little color things are on there, we date all our eggs with a food grade dye, and when you hard boil them, that dye comes off. So not the worst thing in the world, but it's what it is. We date all our eggs because sometimes the kids put different eggs from different days in cartons, and we like to know what we need to do. So just kind of getting the feel of how much I have to hit to tap the egg to get a little tiny hole in it. Seems to be doing really well. Just kind of a single hit once I get going on it. But I want to make sure, like I said, that I get a hole in each one, so hopefully prevent the egg from exploding and blowing apart. So once I've fixed that little headache that I should have done at the beginning, I'll turn the cooker back on here, and we'll finish the process. As far as putting the safety cover back on that thing, as far as the simplicity of the machine, I do like it. As far as washing it, I can tell you that when I washed it, it was a piece of cake to wash. Steam on the inside of the top cover, rinsed it out, wiped it down quick. The pan came clean with just a little magic eraser, and it just came right off after it cooled down. Again, here's that directions on number 1 there. It says, to fill up the water and pour it in, but it also has a line there saying to poke the eggs. Oops. That's what happens when you're a guy and you don't read the directions on the farm well enough before you start the project. Well, at least I can say it's an honest review of the machine. Also, it doesn't say you have to do this, but when I get done with these, I'm probably not going to just stick them in this carton and go to the fridge and cool them that way. I still like to do kind of a cold water bath. I'm just used to that from the pot method that I've done in the past. So I am going to get a container with some ice out, and then take these and drop them into some cold ice water. So that I am going to do too. That's why you can see me there. I'm getting her back here. I'm going to get the ice water out. As far as the cost of a machine like this, they're not the most expensive things on the block. An egg cooker by Dash is, I would consider, at least reasonable. I think the 7 egg or 6 egg cooker was like 15 or $16. If you get more of a deluxe one, like we have here, you can pick them up. You can pick them up on Amazon. That'll do 12 eggs for a fairly decent price. I know for me it wasn't much. I think I paid with the free shipping and so forth. I think I paid $29 for this whole unit. So you're not out a lot of money to buy one of these, folks. When it gets done, even though I don't have the sound on because I'm doing other things and washing and cleaning things up, it actually kind of plays a nice little melody. That's kind of nice because, some of these things, they just buzz at you evilly and scare the crap out of you. But this one's got like a little tune that it plays when it gets done. And I found that to be kind of nice. So, and then when it's done, you just got to be careful not to burn yourself on it because the steam coming out of this thing's pretty hot. There's kind of a pair of handles. There's a handle for the top, and there's a couple there on the side that you can lift off the first layer, and then there's a pair at the bottom. But as I've learned, the bottom one is pretty flippin' hot, so be careful you don't give yourself a steam burn. Maybe it's to your advantage, just shut it off and let the steam come out of it for a bit first. But for sake of the video not taking longer than it needs to, I'm just going to try to get at it and get it out. As far as time goes, that was kind of a big thing for me. I wanted to get this done in a reasonable amount of time, and that is the case. I started at about 7:35, I think it was, on my watch, and it finished it up. Excuse me, it was 8:35, I guess it was. It finished up at just almost shy of 9 o'clock, which is pretty good. So I just turn it off. It's singing at me, and lift the steamy hot cover off and let some of the steam vent off, and then I'm going to go right to the cold water with these eggs because that's what I would have done if I was doing my pot method. It's not the hardest thing to do. I'm just going to kind of tip them off it. Now this section is quite hot, and I don't really want to burn myself. This is the part where I'd be careful how you do this, folks. You may want to let it sit for a little bit. I'm impressed with how hot this little devil gets. Those two little handles there are meant to be grabbed, but boy, that is touchy. And when she's hot, I don't know if you really want to do that. So I decided just to take them off the simple way. I put them in the water for just a couple minutes until they get nice and cold. Once they get nice and cold, then just throw them back in the fridge and mark them for hard boiled, and they're good for lunches or whatever you want to do with them. In this case, I'm going to take one of them, folks, and just peel it right now. I want to know how it did. A lot of times when you cook eggs in a pot, if they crack, you can peel those first. Here's the bottom of that. As you can see, it looks kind of scorched, but it's actually the liquid coming off the eggs there and some of that dye and junk. And either way, it came out really easy. So I'm just going to crack one of these, get it under running water to get the last of the shell off it. Remember, the longer you let your eggs sit in the carton before you hard boil them, day-wise, the easier the shell comes off the egg. So since these are only about 7 days old, the shell doesn't come off quite perfect, but it did a good job. It's a nice, firm, hard-boiled egg. I'm rather impressed for 20 minutes of, again, all you got to do is open up the pack and pop a little hole in the top of them, throw the water in, set them in the thing, and turn it on, and walk away till it sings at you. It's a nice little machine. So to me, the Dash egg cooker gets a 5-star review. It does what it claims to do. Everything is back in the cooker right now, and it's all nice and compact and ready to put away, and 12 eggs cooked up. Highly recommend it. It's going to be a great little tool here on the farm for me that'll probably get used at least twice a week. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like and subscribe, and I'll keep putting out good videos like this.